it funny how people have already made up their mind before they ask you anything? They bring a preconceived ideology into the situation, and nothing you say will move them because they have prejudged it. The Jews had agreed already that if any man did confess that he was Christ, he should be put out of the synagogue. In other words, they're just looking for an excuse to put us out. Therefore, said his parents, he is of age, ask him. Then again called they the man that was blind and said unto him, give God the praise. We know that this man is a sinner, talking about Jesus. In other words, you're giving too much credit to this man. Give God the praise. The man you respect is a sinner. He answered and said, I don't know whether he's a sinner or not. All I know I don't know whether it's the right day. I don't know whether he stood on the right sidewalk. All I know is that I was sitting there blind, and now I can see.
This is the potter's touch.
Do you know how I'm excited to have the opportunity to share the word of the Lord with you and to make you to understand that you have to grow up into favor? That favor doesn't just come full grown. Sometimes you don't feel favored, you don't look favored. It looks like everything is working against you, and then all of a sudden the next step you take opens up God's divine favor in your life. Growing up into God's favor is God's word for you today, and I pray that it would strengthen you and encourage you in the things of God. Take a look at this. Get ready to be blessed.
The Bible says that in the 9th chapter of the Gospel of St. John, that Jesus passed by and saw a man which was blind from his birth. His disciples, who were hungry for information, they had to take a crash course in faith to understand who they were and how they were to operate, said, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Whenever we have an adversity in our lives, we have a tendency in our own human reasoning system to always want to understand why this happened. Who do I blame for this? Well, I'm like this because my parents were like this. I'm like this because I didn't have parents. I'm like this because I'm black. I'm like this because I'm white. I'm like this because my father dropped me on my head. I'm like this because my mother ate ice cream when she was pregnant. We always look for some reason to explain the vicissitudes of life. Jesus blows all of this out of the water, said neither did his parents sin, nor did he sin. In other words, it was nothing that he did to bring this on himself. Oh God, I want that to sink in. Because somebody's blaming themselves for something that you had no responsibility in. He said it was nothing that you did that brought this on you. This happened. It is nothing that your parents did that caused this to happen. Things happen. Bad things happen to good people. So rather than to spend your energy trying to figure out who do we blame for this condition, you ought to be preparing yourself because God is about to give you a breakthrough in your life. Look at this. Neither had this man sinned nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. This is a profound statement. Jesus is suggesting here that the works of God are made manifest through the adversities of men. I'm going to say that again, that the works of God are made manifest through the adversities of men. In other words, if you didn't go through anything that was adverse, God would not have a way to show how strong he is in your life. Are you hearing what I'm saying? That when you want to see the works of God made manifest, look for somebody who's in the most deplorable situation, because God's strength is made perfect in our weakness. When we are at our worst, then God is at his best. And just because you are in a crisis mode right now does not mean that you're going to spend, oh, I got to deal with that a minute. Too many times, more times than not, we have a tendency to want to categorize people and put them in a file. This is a good person. This is a bad person. This is a successful person. This is a failure person. This is a black sheep of the family. This is a person who has favor. But I want to warn you against snap judgments. Because some of the very people who lag behind and look like they weren't going to ever bud or blossom or bring forth fruit may be the very person that has an appointment with destiny, but because you judged them prematurely before they had developed and gone through their changes, you might X somebody out that God has checked the block and said, I'm going to bless her. It might not be in January, it may not happen in February, it may not happen in March or April or May, but I have set a date on the calendar. September 26th at 5:15, there is going to be a turning point. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Many of you have lived your life with a sense and a feeling that something was about to happen in your life. You've gone through adversity and challenges, felt like giving up, felt like throwing in the towel, sometimes felt like life was not worth living. But at the moment of your greatest disparity, there was an intrinsic voice down in your spirit that kept telling you, hold on, something Now, I would like to be more intelligent and more articulate than that and specifically say what is going to happen. But sometimes you're holding on just because you know something is about to happen. You don't even know what it is. You can't describe it. You can't explain it. You have no point of reference for it. You haven't seen it before. It's just a gut feeling that where I am right now is not where I'm going to end up, and somehow or other I will come out of this on my feet. Something. I don't have a name for it. I can't explain it. I've never seen it happen before. I don't see it coming quickly, but down in my spirit I sense that something. Isn't it amazing how you can hold on to something that you can't describe and you can't explain, but you're still holding on to it for dear life? Something is about to happen. Now, all of you who have received your blessing, you don't have to really get into this, but all of you that are waiting on yours, touch somebody and say, something is about to happen. Now, this business about this brother being born blind, that means from the moment he was an infant, he was blind. He'd never seen a sunrise or a sunset. Grew up in a world where people described and talked about things that he could hear but couldn't see. Isn't it amazing how you can live in a world or in a community or in a city or in a neighborhood where somebody is going through great blessings at a time that you're locked out of it? You heard about it, but you can't see it. You listen at the radio and other people were talking about how it was going for them, but you're not seeing it. You work with people who have a great marriage, but you don't see it. You go to church with people who are getting a breakthrough in their lives, but you don't see it. And you are in a state of blindness. And yet, in spite of his blindness, he's still growing. Growing in the dark. Growing in the dark. Growing in isolation. Growing through rejection. Growing without having the benefits of other people around you and still growing. Now, you can laugh at him if you want to, but I have to respect people who grow in adverse circumstances. You can say what you want to. Somebody else who had to deal with what this brother had to deal with may have committed suicide, thrown in the towel, said, I can't hack it, I can't handle it, I'm at my wit's end, but in spite of his blinded eyes, he kept feeding everything else and kept growing anyway. There are people in this room who are growing in spite of dark situation. They are growing in the dark. They got dressed in the dark. They came to church in the dark. They bought a house in the dark. They're raising their children in the dark. They're dealing with adversities in the dark. They go to work in the dark. They pay their bills in the dark. Don't have everything that everybody else has, not seeing the blessings that other people are having, but you're still going ahead anyway. If that sounds like you, then the Lord sent me here.
Still to come on The Potter's Touch.
Whatever it takes, whatever I've got to go through, I've got to get out of this. Whatever I've got, this is past dignity. This is past image now. This is past what you think about me. I've come to a point of desperation. I'm the one who's been blind, walking in the dark, living in the dark, eating in the dark, and now is the chance for my deliverance. Excuse me, put her right there.
It's the biggest event of its kind, and we are going to shake the city. Together again at MegaFest 2013. The nation's top Billboard artists will be in Dallas, all in one weekend. Tamala Mann, Joy Hill, Beverly Crawford, full of entertainment and empowerment. Wes Morgan, Micah Stampley, Fred Hammond and the United Tenors, Ernest Pugh. Taking it to another level. Mega Youth Experience Concert. B. Wright, Kiara Shear, Ty Tribbett. This is Molly Music. McDonald's Inspiration Celebration Gospel Tour. John P. Key, Lecrae. For myself, I'm a product of this thing. Vicky Winans and Smokey Norfolk. Meet us in Dallas, Texas. Register at mega-fest.com or call 1-800-BISHOP-2 today.
We do it big in Texas.
Don't have everything that everybody else has, not seeing the blessings that other people are having, but you're still going ahead anyway. If that sounds like you, then the Lord sent me here to preach to you, to teach you, to challenge you. You can't wait till the change occurs to strengthen yourself. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. That means in spite of the darkness, the bleakness, the adversity, the crisis, the trauma, the rejection, the pain, the divorce, the abuse, whatever it is that you face, you still have to have a forward motion in your life to prepare yourself that something else is going to happen in my life. You're not going to tell me that God brought me into this world and all he had for me was misery. I refuse to live in misery and die in misery. A breakthrough is coming. Look at somebody and tell them there has to be something else. Now, this requires that you believe God for something for which you have no point of reference. If the man had been born sighted and then gone blind, at least he would have a point of reference of what it would be like to have his eyes open. But because he was born blind, this man is now believing God for something for which he has no point of reference. A nebulous faith, an indescript faith, a faith for which there is no verbiage or vernacular, a faith that attacks your spirit and gets down in your heart, and yet you can't honestly say that you've ever been happy, that you've ever had joy, that things have ever gone right, but you're believing God for something for which you have never seen it. Oh God, who am I talking to today? You have to have the faith to believe that things are not going to end up like they started out, that somewhere there is a U-turn where you can turn things around and go in another direction. Jesus said, this man is in this condition that the works of God may be made manifest in his life. Interestingly enough, when he gets ready to heal him, his methods are somewhat unorthodox. He has a plethora of methods that he could use. He could speak the word and say, I command you to see. He didn't do it. Could have laid hands on him and touched him and said, I command your eyes to open up, but he didn't do it. When he got ready to heal the man, he spat in the ground, made mud out of the spit. Now the man can't see him. But imagine with me, if you will, you're blind. You have come in the presence of this healer that everybody's talking about is able to heal. He has called you out of the crowd. You have moved toward him in the dark. He is getting ready to heal you, you think. And then you hear him. Isn't it funny how God's method of bringing you out may not be the method that you would have chosen? Oh my, I could spend the night right there. I've seen God bring me out of a lot of things, but he didn't always bring me out through the person I wanted him to use, in the way I wanted him to use him, and he didn't bring me out as comfortable and as classy and as refined and as conservative as I would have liked for him to bring me out. He brought me out. I had some egg on my face, but he brought me out. I had a little mud running down my chin, but he brought me out. They were talking about me, but he brought me out. It was controversial, but he brought me out. They despised me, but he brought me. This leads to a question. How bad do you want out? See, there are people who want changes in their life as long as it costs them nothing. I want the Lord to bless me. I want to lose 50 pounds, but I want to eat ice cream late at night while I do it. I want to get my degree, but I don't want to go back to school. I want to get out of debt, but I don't want to pay anybody. I want increased income, but I don't want to work another job. You'd be surprised at people who want things, but are not willing to go through what it takes to get your breakthrough. I don't have a sermon for you. You need to go somewhere else. Maybe that other pastor can preach to you. I want to preach to the people who say, whatever it takes. I'm past shame. I'm past image. I'm past what you think. I'm past worried about what I look like. I have come to the point now that whatever it takes for me to turn this situation around, I've got to have oh my God. I don't know. See, I don't do good with refined people who don't have issues. My best anointing is on radical, desperate people who don't care what anybody thinks, that are willing to climb out by any means necessary. Spit right. Tell somebody, say, whatever it takes. I got to get out of this. Yeah. Whatever it takes, whatever I've got to go through, I've got to get out of this. Whatever I've got to, this is past dignity. This is past image now. This is past what you think about me. I've come to a point of desperation. I'm the one who's been blind, walking in the dark, living in the dark, eating in the dark, and now is a chance for my deliverance. Excuse me, put her right there. He spat in the ground, made mud, and put it on his eyes. Incidentally, when you're trying to open somebody's eyes, generally you don't make it worse. But putting mud in my eyes is not a normal progression of causing me to see. Isn't it funny how when you are closest to your greatest miracle, things get worse? Y'all don't know. Is there anybody over here who understands how things get worse before they get better? And if you're a person who's going to give up, this is not for the faint of heart. This is for the tough and the tenacious and the relentless people who can take a licking and keep on ticking and know that things may get worse before they get better. But I've come too far to go back home without getting what I need. Mud and all, I'm in. Now, I wish I had time to do this justice. The Bible said that he mixed spit and mud, spit and earth, and made mud and put it in his eye and told him, go wash in the pool of Siloam. In this statement, you have the whole controversy. Here's the controversy. Jesus sent this man somewhere else to get his miracle, to the chagrin and the frustration of the religious, pious, self-righteous institutions who want to claim ownership. See, generally, people criticize God's favor in your life because they can't claim rights to your accomplishment. If Jesus would have sent him to the Pharisees and the Pharisees could have said they did it, then it would have been all right for him to get healed. But because this man got healed outside of the system, I can't get away from that outside of the system, because many of you recognize that in order to get what you needed from God, you had to break some rules, get outside of the system, go somewhere else. And he sent him to the pool of Siloam and said, go wash yourself in the pool of Siloam. And the Bible said he went and washed and came forth seeing. Suppose God sends you somewhere else. Suppose God uses something outside of your tradition. Oh, I'm telling you, this is good. This is good. See, anytime you get blessed outside of a structured institution or a system, it breeds contempt and resentment, because people feel like that they didn't validate it, they didn't authenticate it, and now they're going to fight it because they cannot accept that God did it. But you know that if it had not been for the Lord that was on your side, you wouldn't have been able to do whatever it was that you did. Now, it can be a big thing, it can be a great thing, it can be moving a nation, moving a country, it can be getting your hair done. It doesn't matter what it is. For some people, other people's normal is your miracle, and it took a miracle for God to open up a door for you to get something that the person next to you takes for granted. They drove to church and they didn't think anything about it, but you drove to church knowing that if God had to pull some strings, you wouldn't have had a car in the first place. So there you are, shouting over something that they are accustomed to, and they think they're entitled to have it, but you waited all of your life just to get to see this blessing. Oh my God. Let me tell you something. Some of you have been waiting a long time, and you're just now coming into your season. And as God begins to bless you, don't you let people intimidate you with their negative carnal saying. You better celebrate the goodness of the Lord and what you know God did in your life.
Give me a second, I'll be back after this.
There's an umbilical cord between provisions and purpose. God doesn't give you provisions just for your own personal gain.
God has taken special care of you every step along the way. Ever wonder why? Because favor ain't fair.
Everything you've got, your talent, your charisma, God gave you those favors for his divine purpose.
When you write us, visit our website or call 1-800-BISHOP2. You will be given Favor Ain't Fair on 3 DVDs just for helping us reach others with your best gift.
You can't be blessed and everybody just sit back and fold their arms. It ain't gonna happen. It's gonna be a whole lot. I don't believe it. But in spite of the chatter, if God has blessed you,
And when your gift is $89 or more, you will also receive your own Psalms 90 tote bag, the Favor Ain't Fair journal set, and T.D. Jakes Classics Volume 5 DVD series, full of timeless wisdom. You are highly favored of the Lord. Isn't it time you walked in it? It's coming. The biggest family-friendly festival is back. MegaFest 2013.
People are asking me, what is MegaFest all about? Is it a conference? Yes, it's a conference, but my God, it's so much more. And it's festivity, it's fun, it's restaurants, it's shopping, it's people of God relaxing. We've been through the fire, we've been through the flood, we made it. It's time to celebrate.
Bigger, better, grander than before. 3 event-packed days for the whole family.
All types of entertainment for your family, for your kids. We've got materials that men are going to need to cause you to stand up and be powerful, be the man that God has called you to be in manpower. The Womanar Loose, you already know, it's incredible. I want you to put your family in a spiritual environment and show them that it's fun to be a Christian.
MegaFest 2013. Get your tickets now. Visit mega-fest.com or call 1-800-BISHOP2.
Throwing a party in Texas. You know what? We do it big in Texas.
when there's a lot of turbulence, a lot of emails, and a lot of interaction, they call it chatter. And chatter gives you an image of a whole lot of noise going on in the room. And when the chatter increases, a lot of times the threat level is raised because the chatter is there. And I want to tell you something. When you're really getting blessed by God, expect there to be a lot of There will be chatter. You can't be blessed and everybody just sit back and fold their arms and say, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. It's your birthday. I'm not mad at it. It ain't going to happen. It's going to be a whole lot. I don't believe it. I don't think it's right. Who is she to be? Who is he? I know he doesn't think. But in spite of the chatter, if God has blessed you, oh my God, my God. Touch somebody and say, don't let the noise stop you.
I've got to stop there, but it's been a real joy, a real blessing to share the word of the Lord with you. I pray that you would grow up into God's favor, that you would reach the full stature and the full purpose of all that God has for you. And know that there's just this countryman down in Dallas, Texas that loves you with the love of the Lord, and that I am praying for you continually, and I trust you to pray for me as well. I hope you and I can get together again. We can hang out and have fun in the city of Dallas. I'm throwing this massive spiritual awakening. It's going to be an oasis for families who want to have fun in a spiritual environment. It's called MegaFest, and you have an invitation from me. Don't let anybody stop you. Tell them Bishop Jakes invited me, and I'm going to MegaFest. God is going to bless your life, and we're going to have a mighty good time. Until then, I pray you have a great day. I pray you have a great week. I pray that you enter into a season of favor like something you have never seen. Take care.